It's a privilege and a great blessing to be called here today. I've spent 42 years at St. Malachy's, and they've been blessed years. And just this past week, I looked at the photo for the 50th anniversary of St. Malachy's, and there's Johnny Kilbane. And so he was an icon to many, especially to those who had lost hope. In his time, in his era, it was tough. It was very tough. And that's in one way which conditioned him. I suppose in the words of our great priest friend, Monsignor Newton, who was a great priest and pastor and teacher, and he grew up in the old angle in the days of Johnny Kilbane. And he told me one day, you know, he said, it's so tough in the angle that even the sparrows sing in bass. And so, you know, it's important that we acknowledge accomplishments that people have achieved. And we acknowledge today, you know, the only boxer that's ever held a title as long as Johnny Kilbane. And yet the interesting thing is, it took a coach, Coach Dunn, who saw in Johnny what he didn't see himself. And he nurtured it. And he said, you're ready. And he took him out to the Vermilion training camp and began to hone his skills. But it came out of, there was a big man, 25, 30 pounds heavier than Johnny, named Campbell. And they had no one to box against him. And they said, Johnny, why don't you go out? He said, geez, he'll kill me. You know, he never did any boxing up to that point. But he won. He knocked out Campbell in the 6th round. And so that began his career. But it took somebody to see in Johnny what he didn't see himself. And as time went on, that's what Johnny began to do for others. He saw in them what they didn't see in themselves. And so I think it's important to remember his accomplishments and continue to honor those accomplishments. And that would be to remember the people in the old angle. Because when he grew up, the people there were poor. They didn't have very much. And so I would just kind of challenge you to look at, as you think about that, how can we continue to remember his presence and his accomplishments by remembering the poor of Malachy's. We have hundreds there every day at that side door for breakfast, for lunch. 500 every Monday night for a meal. Our homeless people that come for a shower every morning at 7 o'clock. And all of our children that are trying to get an education. Those are all the things that Johnny Kilbane stood for. And that's why we're honoring him today. Because he was an icon to many and a light to many others. He gave them hope when there wasn't any hope. He gave them life when they thought they were finished. He taught them how to fight on. And so I would like, in that spirit, to dedicate these few words to Johnny Kilbane. God has given us our physical powers in order that we may serve him joyfully, help one another, and by discipline in accord with the law of God, make our body fit in every good work. So as it says in St. Paul, in his first letter to the Corinthians, do you not know that the runners in the stadium all run in the race, but only one wins the prize? Run so as to win. Every athlete exercises discipline in every way. They do it to win a perishable crown, but we an imperishable one. And thus I do not run aimlessly, I do not fight as if I were shadow boxing. St. Paul's words are especially applicable today to Johnny Kilbane, who was not shadow boxing. He trained to win, and he did, for over 20 years, the only one to hold the featherweight title that long, or any title. He became a world champion. And to all of his family, all your great-grandchildren, you've got a great treasure to hold on to and to live. In the words of St. Paul, in the 2nd letter to Timothy, these are the words of Johnny Kilbane today to all of us. I want you all to know, my good people, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And from now on, the crown of righteousness awaits me, which the Lord, the just judge, will award to me on that day, not only to me, but on all who have longed for his coming. Lord, let the effect of your blessing today remain upon all of us. May we see ourselves as a blessed people, with your faithful people Give them new life and strength of spirit, so that the power of your love will enable them to accomplish what is right and good through Christ our Lord.